Today, let us start with one sum on dissolution of a partnership firm. Look at the sum. Patel, Parikh and Parmar are partners sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 2:2:1. On 31st of December 2010, their balance sheet was as follows. When they decided to dissolve the firm, on asset side you are given building, furniture, stock, debtors as bad debt reserve, cash, profit and loss account, Parmar capital account, debit balance 12,000. In liabilities, we are given capital of Patel Parikh, workman compensation fund, creditors, bills payable, Patel's loan, partner's loan. The firm is dissolved, assets realized as follows. Building 5,500, furniture 500, stock 2,700, debtors 8,000. A contingent liability for bills receivable discounted materialized to the extent of 500. Unrecorded liability. Dissolution expenses amounted to 800. Liabilities are paid in full. Parmar is insolvent and only 4,360 could be recovered from his estate. So amount that is recovered is 4,360. To close the books of accounts of the firm, prepare realization account, cash account, capital account as per the decision of Gardner versus Moore's case. Now, after reading this, notice one important point. Workman compensation fund 10,000 given to in the balance sheet. No liability for compensation exists there against. That is evident from the information given to us. So this workman compensation fund is a undistributed profit. It will be distributed amongst partners in the ratio of profit sharing, that is 2:2:1. This profit and loss account debit balance 20,000 also will be distributed amongst partners in the ratio of 2:2:1. We are required to solve this sum as per the Gardner versus Moore's decision. Notice that one of the partner has become insolvent. Parmar is insolvent. Parmar has a debit balance of 12,000. Now due to insolvency of a partner or due to insolvency of any person, what happens? The amount recoverable from that person are not realized. So here Parmar has become insolvent and there is a debit balance, and whatever the amount that we are supposed to recover from Parmar, we are unable to recover because of his insolvency. Now, loss of this sort or loss of this type, how to account for, that is taken into consideration in the decision of Gardner versus Moore. This unrecoverable amount cannot be treated as par. This unrecoverable amount from a partner because of his insolvency, that is not recoverable, that cannot be treated as at par with the amount not recoverable from the debtors of the business. See, here the debtors are 14,000, amount realized for the debtors is 8,000. So there is a 14,000 minus 8,000, 6,000. There is a reserve against that. 1,000, so 5,000 is the loss. Here also amount is not recovered. Now this amount not recovered is known as business loss. That will be distributed in the ratio of profit sharing 2:2:1. But the amount that won't be recovered from the Parmar, who is a partner, because of his insolvency, that cannot be treated at par with the business loss, and that cannot be distributed in the ratio of 2:2:1. That is the decision of Gardner versus Moore. Then how this amount should be distributed? It should be distributed in the ratio of capital existed on the date of dissolution of insolvent partners. So we have to find out the capital balance as on the date of dissolution of insolvent partner, and that capital balance, the ratio thereof will be worked out, and in that ratio, the amount recoverable from the Parmar will be distributed. One more point suggested in the decision of Gardner versus Murray, that realization loss has to be brought by solvent partners in cash at the time of dissolution of account. Now, after considering this information, let us start with the sum. We are required to prepare realization account, cash account and capital accounts of the partner. Let me start preparing them. Notice it. This is my realization account. Here I have prepared capital account, here cash account and Patel partner's loan account is prepared. Now, first step for the purpose of solving the sum is to copy the balance sheet. Means consider the details of balance sheet for the purpose of accounting of dissolution. That is the meaning of copy of balance sheet. Now, all assets to be realized are transferred to the debit side of realization account. Let me start. See, building 7,000 debited to realization account. Furniture 2,500. Debited to realization account. Debtors 4,700 debited to, stock 4,700 debited to realization account. Debtors 14,000 debited to realization account. Bad debt is 1,000 credited to realization account. Now, cash balance will appear as opening balance in cash account. Profit and loss account debit balance 20,000, that will be distributed in the ratio of 2:2:1. So 20,000 in the ratio of 2:2:1. What happens? 20,000 divided by 5, 4,000, 4 2s are 8, 8,000, 8,000, 4,000 is the distribution. So share of Patel in the loss is 8,000, share of Parikh in the loss is 8,000, share of Parmar in the loss is 4,000, and loss debited to the partner's capital account. So the journal entry for that is Patel's capital account debit 8,000, Parikh's capital account debit 8,000, Parmar's capital account debit 4,000 to profit and loss account credit. Now I write the debit balance of Parmar's capital account on the debit side of Parmar's capital account, that is 12,000. This is how details given to me on the asset side is considered. Now let me start with the liability side. On liability side I am given the capital of Patel, that I write to the credit side of Patel's capital account. I am given the capital of Parikh 16,000, that I write to the credit side. As I told to you before, workmen compensation fund exists in the balance sheet without any obligation, so it's an undistributed profit. That undistributed profit will be distributed amongst partners in the ratio of 2:2:1. So 10,000 if you distribute in the ratio of 2:2:1, share of Patel 4,000, share of Parikh 4,000, share of Parmar 2,000. If I want to spell out the journal entry for that is workmen compensation fund account debit 10,000, to Patel account credit 4,000, to Parikh account credit 4,000, to Parmar account credit 2,000. Creditors balance is transferred to the credit side of realization account. Bills payable credited to realization account. Patel's loan is transferred to the credit side of Patel's loan account. This is how the credit balance is given to me in the balance sheet, or the liability side of the balance sheet is taken care of for the purpose of accounting of dissolution. Now the next step for the purpose of solving the sum is to realize the asset. But this is a sum on Gardner versus Murray. So what should we do? Here, Parmar is insolvent. Loss due to his insolvency is known as capital deficit. That capital deficit is to be distributed among solvent partners in the ratio of their capital as at the date of dissolution. So let me find out first of all the capital ratio of solvent partners. So find the capital ratio of solvent partners, Patel and Parikh. See, look at the total of credit of Patel's capital account, 24 plus 4, 28,000. From that you are required to deduct 8,000, that is debited to Patel's capital account. So 20,000 is the balance of Patel. Let me find out the capital balance of Parikh. So 16 plus 420 minus 8,000, that amounts to 12,000. Ratio of capital to the date of dissolution is 20:12, means 5:3. So 5:3 is the capital ratio. In this ratio, the insolvency loss means Parmar, who has become insolvent, the capital deficit of Parmar will be distributed between Patel and Parikh in the ratio of 5:3. After working out this capital ratio, I start with the usual step. Let us realize the asset. Building realized 5,500. Journal entry cash account debit to realization account credit. Furniture realized 500. Journal entry is cash account debit to realization account credit 500. Notice it. Then stock 2,700. Journal entry for that is cash account debit to realization account credit 2,700. Debtors 8,000. Cash account debit to realization account credit 8,000. So here there are 4 assets. All the 4 assets are realized. A contingent liability for bills receivable discounted materialized to the extent of 500. So this is a contingent liability that we are required to pay at the time of dissolution. Journal entry for payment of this liability is realization account debit to cash account credit. This is a liability that has occurred because of the dishonor of bill. Now next, dissolution expenses 800. Journal entry for dissolution expenses paid is realization account debit to cash account credit. So cash account is credited here with 800 rupees. Liabilities are paid in full. Which are the liabilities? Creditors 2,400, bills payable 600. They have to be paid. Full bills book value is paid. So here creditors account debit to cash account credit. Bills payable account debit to cash account credit. This is how 4,300 is the payment made. Journal entry for that is realization account debit to cash account credit. Now assets are realized, liabilities are settled. Next step is to pay the Patel's loan because we have to pay all the internal and external liabilities. External liabilities already paid. Patel loan is to be paid. There are 2 ways. Either this Patel's loan is to be transferred to the capital account of Patel or it may be transferred to cash account. But the better treatment is to pay in cash. But here in this sum, for understanding, for explanation purpose, the alternative treatment are transferred Patel's loan to Patel's capital account. Now, assets and liabilities are settled. Assets are realized, liabilities are settled. Let us find out the profit or loss on realization. We are required to close the realization account. Total of debit is 32,500. From that 20,700 will be deducted. So you will get the realization loss 11,800. Now this realization loss of 11,800 will be distributed amongst partners in the ratio of their profit sharing, and their profit sharing ratio is 2:2:1 as we know. So this realization loss distributed in the ratio of 2:2:1. Share of Patel in loss is 4720. Share of Parikh in loss is 4720. Share of Parmar is 2360. These losses will be debited to the partner's capital account. So Patel's capital account debit, Parikh capital account debit, Parmar capital account debit 2360 to realization account credit 11,800. Realization losses distributed. We are required to apply the decision of Gardner versus Murray. So solvent partners are required to bring cash equivalent to realization loss. So solvent partners should bring cash equal to realization loss. So here share of Patel in loss is 4720. So Patel brings cash 4720. Cash account debit to Patel's capital account credit. Parikh is also an insolvent partner. Parikh is also a solvent partner. His share in realization loss is 4720. As per Gardner versus Murray, he is required to bring cash for realization loss. So he has to bring 4720. Entry for that is cash account debit to Parikh's capital account credit. Parmar is an insolvent partner. He can bring as much as he can because of his insolvency. Now, let us work out the capital deficit of Parmar or loss that is sustained by the firm on account of insolvency of Parmar. To find out this capital deficiency, total of debit side 12,000, 4,000 plus 2,360, 18,360. From that you are required to deduct the credit 2,000 Net debit balance is what? 16,360. Now, Parmar is insolvent and only 4,360 could be recovered from his estate. So, he brings only 4,360. So, against 16,360 due from him, he brings only 4,360. The amount that he could not bring is deducted. You get it? That amount is 12,000. This 12,000 is a capital deficit. Loss due to insolvency of Parmar. This loss, capital deficit, is to be distributed between Patel and Parikh in the ratio of capital that existed on the date of dissolution, that is 5:3, that we have already worked out. So this 12,000 distributed in the ratio of 5:3. Share of Patel is 5/8 of 12,000. That amounts to 7,500. Share of Parikh is 12,000 into 3/8. This is the ratio that I have taken from here. 4,500 is the share of Parikh to suffer the capital deficit. That is the reason because of the insolvency of Parmar. So this loss is debited to Patel's capital account, Parmar's capital account, Parikh's capital account debit, Parmar capital account debit. But let me write down first of all the entry that the amount brought by Parikh cash account debit to, Parmar cash account debit 4,360 to Parmar capital account debit 4,360. Now this entry for capital deficit, Patel account debit to Parmar account credit, Parikh account debit 4,500 to Parmar account credit 4,500. This is how capital deficits transfer. Journal entry for that is Patel capital account debit 7,500, Parikh capital account debit 4,500 to Parmar capital account credit 12,000. By this entry, what happens? Capital account of Parmar gets closed. It gets balanced. Now only two partners are left, Patel and Parikh. Their capital is required to be redeemed. Let us find out their balance and redeem the capital. First of all, look at the total of Parmar tallies. Total of credit side of Patel is 42,720. From this 42,720, deduct 8,4720 and 7,500. You will get a balance to be paid in cash, 22,500. That has been paid. So Patel's capital account debit to cash account credit 22,500. Here the capital of Patel is redeemed. Let us work out the capital balance of Parikh. Total of credit side is 24,720. From that you are required to deduct 8,4720 and 4,500. So this is the redeemable amount difference that is paid to Parikh. Parikh's capital account debit to cash account. Partner's capital is redeemed. Now the last step is to close the cash account. Total on both the sides should agree. No balance should be left in cash account. Let us do it. Let us do that. So total of debit and total of credit is 22 plus 4, 26 plus 7, 34,300. Here also the total is 34,300. This is how the cash account agree. Cash account agree means no balance is left in cash account. How that could be? Because the partnership firm is dissolved. This is how sum on dissolution is solved here before you. I think you must have followed. Thanks to all of you.